Welcome back to another Alliance War video. We have 4 Loki versus Nex, and they banned Kushala, Sunspot, and Colossus. For this war, I am going with a team of Professor X, White Magneto, and I was going to bring Claire because I have an Adam Warlock mini, but we had a Symbiote Supreme on the map who was also possibly going to take it. Then I thought, I was like, well, I can just exit. I did it earlier and it didn't go perfect, but it was like super safe with the Power Start 1. So then I started looking at the rest of my fights and I was like, you know what? If I want to have a really safe war, I'm just going to use Power Start 1s and throw max recoil on. And if I can limit their power gain, I can get to my SB3 with about 70 to 100 charges and just kill everybody. So I'm bringing Reed, Mr. Fantastic, in. I'm throwing a relic on him because I am paranoid, and in case I do need to use him on attack, he has a relic attached. But I'm going to be using Professor X for all my fights, actually. I have my path fights, 4 of them, and 2 minis. And so first up is I'm going to be moving to the left side of the screen and just burning some energy. And for this Absman fight, he has that regen when you're close to him. Ironically, Reed could do this fight as well, but he's an R3, so I'm not going to do that. I have this spot right here, which is an R3 spot. So, you know, Nex has a bunch of R3s all over the map, and everybody's 6 stars basically ascended. Then I have this Danny who's an R3 on that prowess node. This is an R2 Maestro, which surprised me. An R3 Killmonger here, and a R3 Adam Warlock on this Vigilance Mini. I was possibly going to take the Bullseye boss as well. We had a Bishop on the map, and a Horseman available for either, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Right now, I dropped the combat suppression pre-fight, so you can place up to 4 pre-fights with Mr. Fantastic. You get more if you use him on attack, and you end the fight with more debuffs. But basically for this fight, what I did is I maxed Petrify, and I have the debuff, which is going to lower their combat rate. You see right there by quite a bit. Like 1 heavy didn't even give him half a bar of power. So at this point, I'm really just kind of like, okay. When I heavy, I also refresh the debuff, and I'm under a bar. He's under a bar here, and I have my falter, which is perfect because I can do a long hold for it. And here I want to bait a heavy. I don't want him to throw this heavy. I mean, it doesn't really matter if he does, but I'm going to combo into manually trigger my mind control. It doesn't really matter if I do or not because ultimately I have 100 charges. And I throw this SB3, and the first one, obviously I don't heavy into it, so I only have 1 prowess. And then the second one, I'm going to get another prowess for the heavy for the SB3. So it's a little bit slower. I think if I would have just heavy charged, he would have been, I don't know if he would have been dead with the first one, but he definitely would have taken 3. Just 2 would have killed, but ultimately it really doesn't matter. The fight goes much faster with the Power Start 1, so it's, it's just super safe. I just didn't want him to throw a special at all. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get these fights done with, and I want them to be as safe as possible. And I knew that the Power Start 1s could carry over between fights, so why not? And here I want to throw a White Magneto pre-fight because the node does have Masochism. And I debated whether or not to use it because I could just heavy counter him and just be perfectly fine. But the White Magneto's there, so I can get a long heavy charge on my parry. So here you see how I hold it just right before it expires, and I get a nice long charge. I'm over 25 charges, so I get a vigilance, so even if he goes untouchable, I'm not going to miss. At this point, I'm just trying to bait some time for for my falter to pop up so I could use it. So I'm at 99 charges at this point, and I dex out of the last hit so I can remove his spots, and I go back to parry heavy to get to 100. And I have 6 of the global prowess up at this point, and at this point I'm going to combo into my special 3. I have 2 persistent charges, so I'm going to come out of this with 2 prowess, but it does really good damage. And you know, it's one thing, it's like I've been using X quite a bit over the past seasons, few years, and you know, now that he's like fully ranked up and ascended, you know, R5, he's maxed, I'm just like, man, you throw some max recoils and some boosts on, you can really get in and out of a fight super safe. You know, you just need to go red, basically. I mean, that was 400k health in 60 seconds. And the fight I was actually most worried about was this Dani fight, which is odd because I just beat her in Winter of Woe with X, and you know, I can dex her SP2, but I don't want to be doing that in War, and I don't want to be taking any of this block damage in War because it has like a 200% prowess node here. So the main thing I'm telling myself is don't hit her block. And I have a read pre-fight here to basically limit her power gain. That was a nice 19k heavy there. And I just want to get to 3 bars of power. I don't think this person's running max limber, but I get my falter, and she goes passive here, and I'm like, all right, that's perfectly fine. I get a full charge, and I'm like, okay, now we're cooking. I just need to get to 3 bars, and here I beta heavy, and then I combo into my special 3. This fight went, you know, absolutely perfect. I did not want her to throw a special, and that's exactly what happened. The more power they actually have when I initiate mind control, the more potent my prowess is per my sig. So it's good that she's at, you know, 2 bars or just under 2 bars. But I throw that first special 3, and then I mean, this whole war is just really a special 3 spam. But like I said, you know, before I would really kind of, you know, focus on throwing that heavy charge, getting that heavy charge into a special 3, but it's not needed, especially with a power start 1. You know, this Dani is an R3 7-star, and you know, the chip damage can be big, especially with the node if I'm blocking specials, and it's 400k health, and it goes down in a minute 16. So, you know, super safe. And this Maestro, this node is a node where if you block specials, they get prowess, and if they have so many, then they go unblockable. Again, my power start 1 is carrying over. So far I've used 2, and you know, the plan basically is to knock him down to pause those cosmic charges, but really to ramp. I didn't use a read pre-fight here because I'm going to be taking the Atom Boss, and I was going to use it there. And I know the Petrify doesn't really work for him, or you know, versus non-mystics, but in case it does, I figured why not. And here I beta heavy, I do combo, and here I was a little worried. I manually triggered mind control here, and I should not have done this because there's a chance that it glances, and if it glances, then maybe my mind control does not trigger. And yes, I'm at 100 charges, so it could have triggered just by throwing the SB3, but if you combo into a glance into a special, the special can glance. So I was worried actually that I was going to push him red, but ultimately what I was thinking is that, okay, I'll push him red, but I'll still be at 3 bars of power. Hopefully I'll just spam my special 3, and then that'll be good, but it didn't even happen. He was mind controlled, and everything was fine. So Maestro down, and next up we have a Killmonger on this regen mini node, and I have white Magneto pre-fight. I'm using the second one here, and that's going to allow me to parry him, get a longer heavy charge, and it's also going to limit his power gain because I'm not placing a debuff on him. I debated on using the combat suppression and the petrify because that, coupled with the global prowess reducing their ability power rate, would have actually reversed some of that power gain. But I didn't want to basically run a test in war, especially when I have the setup just to avoid all that. So This is a beefy rank 3 Killmonger on a regen node. So he's going to be basically full health until I start my damage loop. The main thing I want to try to avoid is I want to try to have him not throw any special ones. So what I'm doing is I'm dashing away because there's a slight window where he throws it where you're a little too close. So you see me hold block and let go and then kind of parry after he comes at me. That's because I don't want to push him to a special one. I want him to throw this special 2 here, and he does, and I'm like, okay, perfect. I go to parry. I want to make sure that I have global prowess. I want to make sure that I also remove those indestructibles off of him. And here I have 5 global prowess, and I heavy charge into my special 3. He doesn't have any indestructible charges, so I'm like, okay, perfect. That couldn't have gone any smoother. I did take quite a bit of chip damage though. Like 17% just off of taking blocked hits is not ideal. But there you see the first special 3, and I heavy charge into the second one so I can get 1 more prowess. I was at 5 for my 4 persistent charges and throwing the special, and I heavy charge into this next one, and that's gonna give me 6. And I could have heavy charged 1 more time, but I figured that the last one was gonna kill anyways, so it didn't really matter if I did or not, and it is gonna kill. So this next fight is at him on this vigilance node, and I'm using a white Magneto pre-fight so I can actually parry even when he has a sovereignty buff, because when he has a sovereignty buff, he reduces your ability accuracy to land a stun debuff. But when you have white Magneto pre-fight, it's a stun passive, so he can't stop that. And basically the goal here is to I have the two read pre-fights. I want to limit his power gain from per Adam's kit. You cannot lower his power gain rate unless you're a mystic. The global allows each global prowess to lower that rate per global prowess, and you see he's still gaining it here, and I have 2 global prowess in the petrify. It doesn't look like it's slowing it down, but the combat power rate reduction is helping here. So I'm at 77 charges here. At this point I'm like, okay, I know that I can just combo into my special 3 once I'm there, and I'm perfectly fine. So at this point I'm just like, okay, he's at 2 bars. I'm gonna manually trigger mind control, and this guy is dead. If he was gonna throw that special 2, I would have been perfectly fine with it. But yeah, I'm fully ramped, and everything's Gucci right here at this point. I know that I'm gonna be spamming. I throw 1 special 2, one special 3, and he's under 40%. The second one's gonna kill him, and that was my war. It was actually a very clean war for me. I could have brought a stronger Danny counter, if you want to say that. Oh, it didn't kill him. I should have heavy charged into that second one. Looking like Trevor selling off fight time right here. But yeah, that was a good war overall for me. But unfortunately, we did end up losing this war. So we really need to close out the season strong to lock in Masters. We're just on the outskirt of it. Shout out to Karate Mike, Smugsy, and Trevor, all from BG1, all got MVPs. And yeah, hopefully we finish the season strong, and I will see you guys in the next one.